Pozdravljeni, pred nami je že prvi sklop predavanj in sicer na temo knjižnice, demokracija in aktivno državljanstvo. With us is already the first speaker, Mr. David Siders. A warm welcome from Slovenia. Firstly, I will briefly introduce you in Slovenian and then you can start with the presentation. David Siders je zaposlen v Cincinnati in Hamilton County, kjer se je preizkusil v različnih vlogah. Trenutno deluje kot Civic Engagement Coordinator in na predavanju bomo spoznali, kaj sploh zajema delo koordinatorja, ter na kakšen način je knjižnica razširila svoj doseg v lokalni skupnosti in s tem spodbudila prebivalstvo k aktivnemu sodelovanju. Že sedaj vas vabim, da gospodu Davidu med predavanje zastavite vprašanja v klepetalnici oziroma na Q&A v slovenščini ali angleščini. Mr. Siders, the floor is yours.
Hello from the United States and American Library Association. My name is David Siders, and I am Civic Engagement Coordinator with the Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library. And I am here today to talk about how we provide civic engagement with vulnerable populations and how we connect our community members to resources. If you're able to see my screen, I want to be sure.
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you so much. I wish I were there in Slovenia with you, but here I am in southwestern Ohio. Our public library system is a county library system in southwestern Ohio. We have 41 libraries that connect to people all across the county. I'm David, as I mentioned, and I want to emphasize that building relationships with community organizations is the key to developing partnerships that meet community needs, and I will illustrate this today. One of the big things we're working on right now is voter registration and encouraging our community members to vote for elected officials and issues in our community. As a matter of fact, yesterday in the United States was National Voter Registration Day. So we celebrated at our main library and registered people to vote. We partner with Greater Cincinnati Voter Collaborative, who did studies of the lowest voter registration and lowest voter turnout in neighborhoods across the city of Cincinnati. We developed voting tools to educate people on why vote, how to register to vote, and how to find your voting location. We provide sample ballots so people know who and what to vote for. And we clarify eligibility for people who may experience homelessness or have a criminal record. As a matter of fact, we talked to a number of people yesterday, possibly experiencing homelessness or didn't think they were eligible to vote because they had a criminal record but were no longer imprisoned. And we hope we help them understand that they are able to participate in democracy and voting here in the state of Ohio. The Greater Cincinnati Voter Collaborative offers free rides, driving people to go vote at our voting locations, which is a big perk because people sometimes have transportation difficulties here in the United States. Why vote? What we do is try to educate people on why they should vote on a federal, state, and county level here in the United States. And we talk about issues such as affordable housing, as you can see here, schools, policing, wages, and employment that is a fair wage that covers basic needs in unforeseen circumstances. Healthcare is a big issue here in the United States, of course, and across the world. And we hope to support people in having well-paying jobs that provide healthcare, childcare, clean drinking water, and clean air. And like I said, good-paying jobs and training should be in reach for all of us. And we support veterans, folks that served in our military. Building civic partnerships helps connect people to resources as well. And our library system and I have connected and partnered with civic engagement organizations in our community One is called Action Tank, another is called Woman City Club, and the Cincinnati Ethics Center. And we bring people together for events that we call community conversations, where people come together and talk about issues important to them. And topics we have covered in the last year or so have been, what should we expect from our elected officials? How do we create more affordable housing? Here in the United States, we have a terrible problem with our economy and inflation and cost of living, and housing in our city and our county is becoming increasingly more expensive month by month. It's becoming a crisis where people can't afford basic rent for apartments and homes here in Hamilton County and the city of Cincinnati. We had an event at election season last year about how our elected officials would support climate justice and green living and ecological issues, where people came together to ask questions of our elected officials of how they support climate justice. And we recently had a conversation about the ethics of genetics. A big thing in the pandemic, starting in early 2020, when the world went down on shutdown and we isolated, our libraries opened fairly early in the pandemic to serve the public. So I would say approximately May in 2020, our public libraries opened again. And I quickly developed partnerships with our public health organizations here in our county. The Health Collaborative and University of Cincinnati Health, we provided COVID-19 PRC testing early on in the pandemic, where people came to our libraries to receive free COVID testing with results within 24 to 48 hours. We partnered with our City of Cincinnati Health Department and our Hamilton County Public Health, and we later provided vaccines. Early this summer of 2022, we rolled out the Pediatric Vaccine for young people, for children ages 6 months old to 11 years old. So we were one of the first agencies here in our city and county to provide the pediatric vaccine. We also hosted our University of Cincinnati, who did a COMPASS study, which studied the spread of COVID-19 across the state of Ohio and across the United States. So our community members participated in a study to better understand the spread of COVID-19. And in the past months, this spring and the summer, we have brought in health partners to help people understand their eligibility for health insurance enrollment. Medicaid and Medicare is what we call it. When we look at community need across the county, we do what we call community needs assessment, where we look at neighborhoods that have higher needs than other neighborhoods. And as you can see, this map is about 2 years old, but it shows across the county how we provided testing at locations where people could walk or take the bus or easily access our libraries so that they could have free, no-cost COVID-19 testing. This is when we went into providing vaccinations. This just breaks down demographics of people who came in for vaccines by sex, ethnicity, race, and age, as you can see here. COVID-19 testing also provided the at-home test that is a rapid COVID-19 test that results are found in 15 minutes. And our Ohio Library Council on the state level partnered with our Ohio Department of Health to provide free COVID tests for at-home use. And believe it or not, we have provided more than 145,000 at-home COVID tests to help people know when they need to stay home and isolate because they might test positive for COVID-19, or when they could go back to school or work if they tested negative. We provided test kits at 8 of our library locations that have drive-through locations for cars. And we helped our local hospitals by storing and providing 5,000 and actually more than that tests for our local hospitals. So it was truly a community spirit where we helped other agencies during the COVID crisis. The other big thing that I wanted to talk about today is our library system provides job and career help on a daily basis at all of our libraries. We provide one-on-one assistance with helping individual people with their resumes. We have an adult learning center that helps people prepare for job interviews, including the virtual interview and handling problems like I had today with technical issues of logging on to a virtual setting, so that many jobs now are provided virtually. Our job interviews are provided virtually. And then we have people that need help with their paperwork, applying for jobs and once they receive jobs. We have online resources, databases, LinkedIn Learning, Job Now, and Universal Class that provides upskilling and training for people to not only get a job, but to perform better in their jobs and to explore topics like diversity and inclusion in the workplace, leadership skills, time management and project management, and other work-related topics, all in these databases. LinkedIn Learning is a great example. And then I help lead a workforce development team where we focus on providing job help and opportunities for employment across the county. Our next job fair is actually next Thursday on September 29th, where we have a theme of finding a meaningful career in nursing and healthcare. And I know across the United States, we have a workforce and labor crisis and a labor shortage of not enough nursing and healthcare workers in our hospitals and medical clinics. We are very short-staffed and we need to help recruit as many people as possible to join the healthcare field. So we have a job fair where people, as you can see, can chat with employers, drop into sessions to help with resumes, interview tips, and learn about career resources. And here's a list of some of the employers, the health centers that are hiring people that we have brought in so that they can recruit people for employment at these different health centers and hospitals. Our civic engagement and public health partnership infrastructure is in place, as I've mentioned. We engage people in community conversations, in public health, and in job help. And those are just a few examples of how we help people on a daily basis. So I hope this presentation has been helpful to you today. I'm trying to stop screen sharing here so I can join you again.
Hi, thank you for the presentation.
Yes, thank you very much.
I will say in Slovene now. Če imate kakršnekoli vprašanja, jih prosim navedite, napišite v Q&A, da jih lahko zastavimo gospodu Sajdersu. So thank you for your presentation. The question is how to encourage or how to involve younger population to see to come to the public library.
Now.
Pardon?
Yes, I have a very good example actually. We have a department called Lifelong Learning that provides events and programming, STEM and STEAM learning, and socio-emotional learning for ages birth through high school, and of course for all ages. But one thing we've done is for the election season for voting, we have had mock elections where children vote for their favorite candy instead of their favorite politician so that they understand how it feels and the importance of voting and that kind of thing. Another thing we do, thank you for this great question, by the way, is we have a video series called Important Conversations, where our youth librarians cover difficult topics like racism or death in the family, where our youth librarians read a story or a book about how to handle a very difficult situation, how to understand and better dismantle racism, how to understand health issues, how to understand getting along with other children and that kind of thing. So we find approaches to help children learn, and we call it Future Ready, where we provide events, programming, videos, the things I've talked about to help youth prepare and be better equipped in life with life skills and also employment. We have a teen event coming up about exploring careers in the construction and architecture industry here in Cincinnati, for example, to help youth understand that they can have a fulfilling career in construction, where we can diversify, where we want more women and people of color in these kinds of fields like construction industry. So we approach engaging youth in a number of different ways. I hope that helps.
Thank you for so many ideas that we can implement. Another question is, how important is ALA in all of this advocacy?
How important is what, pardon me?
ALA, American Library Association.
Oh, yes, the American Library Association is very supportive. I've actually worked with them, and they helped me connect with you all today in the idea of community conversations and civic engagement, where we bring people together to talk about difficult issues like I talked about. So the American Library Association is very supportive with the civic engagement idea of bringing people together on community issues and also voting rights. They are also very supportive of the public health efforts that the public libraries in the United States have taken on because of the pandemic, and then very supportive with the STEM and socio-emotional learning of youth, like I talked about as well. They provide many professional development opportunities and learning and engagement opportunities. I went to a wonderful conference in New Orleans in the state of Louisiana here in the United States right before the pandemic. So the American Library Association has wonderful, fabulous conferences as well.
Great, thank you. Another question. How are the debates about the social political problems in the library that you mentioned going on?
Well, one thing that we are very happy about in the public library setting is that we are nonpartisan, which means, of course, we don't take any particular political stance on the right or the left, but we provide opportunities of neutrality and a safe space where people come in and share their viewpoints, their lived experience, no matter what their political leanings are. So we essentially are very pleased to provide a safe and very neutral space for people to express their political and lived experiences, political beliefs and lived experiences.
Great, thank you. And do you have in library any citizen science projects?
One of our branch libraries, our Jennifer Korn, our manager of our Pleasant Ridge branch library, is endeavoring the Human Library campaign, which many of you may have heard. It's an international project where the Human Library features people as stories. So individuals tell their stories, they talk about their backgrounds, and they share their lived experience with other people. So I think that's a good example of what you're asking is the Human Library. I would look into it on the internet, Google it. The Human Library is a very pervasive initiative and fascinating.
Great, thank you very much. I think there are no more questions.
Okay, thank you for the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hvala za vsa vprašanja, za pozornost.